All right, everyone, we are here with a very special guest. We are joined by Johnny Bananas. It has been quite some time since we've had Johnny on the show, so welcome back.
Thanks for having me, guys. I thought you forgot all about me.
No, we
our
did
best
not.
friend.
Yeah.
Right? I know.
We helped each other out.
Yeah.
In the escape room.
Yes, you guys got me out of that fucking subway car we were stuck in.
Yep.
Well, I
We
think,
could never
they
forget.
say absence makes the heart grow fonder. So
Yes,
it's been a while.
and
Missed
so
you guys.
we missed you, and we're happy to have you here. The challenge is back.
Yeah.
We're super excited about that. You're back on the challenge, which then gives us a reason to watch.
Yep.
Because you messaged me the other day, and you were like, "Yo, if you ever get a second from not watching The Bachelor, the challenge is back on soon, and I'm on it."
Well, you guys better do like the whole thing where you like lay in bed and like watch it and like, you know, like the whole, we want the whole rigmarole,
Yeah.
okay?
The thing with the challenge is we can do that. We can lay in bed and
Yes.
watch it, whereas like The Bachelor becomes now, The Bachelor is part of the job.
Well, we're laying in bed both times.
That
since
is true.
the cutting steps.
Mattress Firm. Shout out
Yeah,
Mattress Firm.
yeah.
But are you excited to be back on the challenge?
I am. Listen, I'm excited. I'm apprehensive. I'm a little nervous. I mean, that's what's weird about it is like, even though it's like I've done it for as long as I have, when you step away, there's gonna be a lot of new. I mean, there's a lot of new faces. There's a lot of people who've kind of filled in the void that I left when I took my hiatus. So I honestly, this is the first time going in a long time when I don't really know how I'm going to be received.
Why'd you want to go back? You left on a high note.
I know. I mean, listen, because it's like
It's addicting.
it's addicting, and it's like it's you know what it is it's almost become like a part of. I mean, I've been doing it for so long. It's almost become like a part of my life, and for better or for worse, it's like the longest dysfunctional, emotionally abusive relationship I've ever been in. And but there's also a lot of perks that go along with it. And I mean, I've had some of the most amazing experiences in my life on this show, and I miss the competition. I miss mixing it up on TV. I want to see going back if I still have what it takes to compete at a high level. And you just never know until you check back in.
Let's hypothetically,
Okay.
if you keep winning, will you just keep playing forever?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
If you start losing, will you actually hang it up or will you keep playing
But wouldn't
forever?
you
It depends on how I lose.
Okay.
It
fair.
depends on how. Here's the thing. If I'm showing up and like I just can't hack it and like I just don't have the chops anymore, whether it's mentally or physically, there's a few people that I definitely think should have taken that road. Definitely. But I still feel like I can compete at a very high level. Listen, I like to make comparisons to myself and Tom Brady because he is the Johnny Bananas of the NFL.
I was going to make that comparison, but then I did not want to get make your head bigger.
Yeah.
With this hair?
Yeah, that's what I
Possible.
was thinking. Like I
Got a
don't want
lot of room to expand.
Yeah.
But no, I look at him and it's like, dude, this guy's 45 years old, and because he takes care of himself and because he takes the game seriously, and because he trains in the off season, and because he focuses so much on it, I mean, he's still able to run circles around guys in his same position. I see it the same way. It's like
But what about those personal relationships, John?
I know, I get it. But you know what? You have to make sacrifices, as did he. Didn't Giselle just leave him because he checked
That's what
back
I'm
in?
saying.
Oh, okay.
There's some rumors.
That's what I'm
Well,
saying.
I don't
listen.
think officially, but there's rumors that things were a little cold between them.
The way that I look at it is, as of now, I'm not saying this forever, the challenge, and not just the challenge, but just like my career, being on TV and being in the entertainment industry, that's where I got to focus a lot of my attention on. And unfortunately, because of the amount that I travel and because of, just the demands of my schedule, it's difficult to try and hold down a relationship and, try and, feed the beast at the same time. So, and it sucks, but it's just part of, I know what I signed up for. And, I'm just not ready, I guess, to change the trajectory I'm on right now. But maybe someday.
What's the saying? Zebras don't change their stripes.
Don't lose their stripes.
Don't lose their stripes, whatever.
That was tigers. Is it
Tigers?
zebras?
You're looking
I have
at the
no
wrong person
idea.
for saying
Tigers don't change their stripes? Noah, do you have
They
any
all
idea
have
what it is?
stripes.
Oh.
Yeah, whatever.
One of those
pick whatever
animals.
animal you want to go with.
One of those animals.
Yeah, it's one of them.
Yes.
This season is the first time you guys got to pick partners.
Yes.
Did you have any idea that you wanted to go with Nany, or like was that what went into that?
Okay, so they asked us before the season to give them a list of female friends, ride
Yeah.
or dies, whatever. So
And we were not on the
originally-
list.
It said Rhea Fran.
it was, but they said you guys were busy.
Yes.
They're like, we cannot.
Yep.
They can't be away from the Chicks in the Office podcast for that long. They even got this fancy sign. You guys moved offices. You guys used to be over there.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, this is
that's
our-
like the
this is our
general
room.
podcast, and we made this
Okay.
one, but don't worry, we're getting a bigger
I
one.
love what you guys done with the place.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You do need a bigger room because my head barely fits in this.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're
working on it. we have to. It's like
No, it's cozy. It's like
It is
cozy.
very
it's
cozy.
cozy until it becomes claustrophobic and
Yeah.
like sweaty.
I gotta say, you guys keep your office a lot nicer than the KFC radio guys.
Well, they
Well, we
have
don't have
so-
enough room.
Like
to,
they have
make a
so
mess?
much.
Yeah.
Like their room is so big that they have it can. It's just gets so
Yeah.
dirty.
When
So
we
you're
get
saying-
a bigger room, ours will become.
No,
I mean,
I'm gonna
you do
keep
have some
that thing
handprints
so
on the
nice.
wall over there, but other than that,
Yeah, because I'm like climbing to get out of here.
Oh,
You
is
know
that
what I
what it
mean?
is?
Like
Okay.
you gotta like
yeah.
step over people. There's a lot going on.
I get you. Yeah, Edwin takes up a lot of space.
Yeah, yeah.
No, so we had to basically submit a list of females in our life that we and they actually wanted like a list of like like my siblings. I'm like, okay, my sister's not
Oh.
happening.
Yeah.
One of my sisters has 8 kids, and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
other one has 2, and she's still breastfeeding, so that's not happening. And even if they didn't have kids, I would never
Yeah.
in a million years bring one of my sisters into this insane asylum.
Yeah.
So they're like, what about relationships? You dating anyone? I'm like, are you guys psychotic? Like, there's no shot that I'm gonna bring not that I was at the time, but like, there's no way I'd bring a relationship into
Yeah.
this world either. Like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
Just so that
Well,
they
there
can
was
break it up.
already-
Exactly. And then I was thinking, I was like, well, what if? Okay, imagine
Well-
like if I'm dating a girl and she's like got a great personality, and I bring her on the show, we break up, and then they keep casting her to come back.
Yeah, because she's so good.
Yeah, I'd be like, well, I'd be really shooting myself in the foot. So then I'm like, listen, we're gonna stick to females from the show who I'm friends with. So I submitted them a list of names, and out of them, Nani's the one that they went with. She was obviously really close to the top of my list because me and Nani, I think, out of all of the pairs on the show, Nani and I, other than people who are siblings,
Yeah.
have had the longest relationship in the house, and our relationship has run all ends of the spectrum. We were obviously friends, that we were romantically involved for a period of time, and we just realized that it's like we're just, better as friends. And she's honestly one of the closest people I have in my life. And she's been on a lot of seasons of the challenge. She's gotten really close to winning, and she just hasn't been able to, make it across the finish line and finish the drill. So, hopefully this is going to be her season with me.
I remember people rooting pretty heavily for you too, romantically.
Yeah.
me being one of them. But I was like, I had watched
But
them.
you were watching. They'd
like I was
already
watching them
happened.
years past,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was like,
Yeah.
damn,
I know.
like, they would be good together.
And listen, and there was a period of time when when our our lives were different, things worked a different way. But I
Yeah.
think we both realized that like as time went on, it was like we were just better off. I mean, I always knew she was someone I was going to have in my life for a long time. I just didn't know what capacity it was going to be, and I think we both realized that we're just better off
Yeah.
as friends. And I can honestly say there are very few females that I have in my life that I have been, I guess, romantically involved with in the past, and now I'm just like super tight with them.
Would you consider her an ex?
I wouldn't say an ex because we never had like a relationship.
It's when you put that list together, I'm sure MTV would also be like, maybe throw some exes on there.
Well, we were
'Cause there's,
on a show called Exes. We were. We were
There's
exes.
there's some interesting dynamics with this cast that I'm
Yes.
intrigued to see how.
There are some very interesting
Yeah.
dynamics with this
Tori.
cast. Yeah.
No, I'm very.
Dude, that shit.
This season has my attention. I will
Haywire.
say
Yeah.
The challenge is up and down with me. Like
Yeah.
I will be with the cast is what drags me in. So
Yeah.
like you guys being back, I'm like I will
Yeah.
watch. It's
Well, that's
always
you need those people because some of the new people you definitely some you really like and they make their way on the show and they stay and there's been a lot of those the last few years.
Has there?
But then there's been a few. But then there's some where it's like they're bringing people from like Love Island
Yeah.
and
There's
like
some that
random
try too
stuff
hard,
where it's
like,
like
to
this
be,
isn't
like-
a fit. This doesn't make sense
because you guys were when the challenge first started. It was a time where social media wasn't so big and so
Exactly.
like everything was kind of raw that
Yeah.
was happening.
Yep.
And now people do things for that moment, like
Yeah.
that they know.
I also have never watched Big Brother. Like, I just have never watched Big Brother. And Big Brother's such a major element to this show now that it's like, do I have to start watching Big Brother to like pay attention to what's happening on the challenge?
I didn't either, and I kind of had to start, and I started watching Survivor for the same reason, just to like understand, like,
I love
because they play
Survivor.
such a different game.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a podcast now as well. I'd love to have you guys on.
Yeah.
Oh, we
It's
would
called
love
Death,
to.
Taxes, and Bananas. It's all challenge stuff. So I mean, you guys, now that you're watching this season, it'd be great to have you guys on.
I do
But-
always watch, for the record. I do watch.
Yeah.
But
I don't. I watch when I'm interested
Yeah.
in the cast.
I mean, and I do too. Like,
Rhea got me
I'm the one
hooked,
who
and
got-
then like I'd come in and be like, "Dude, are you watching?" And she'd be like, "No." I'm like, "I'm watching."
It depends on the season.
It
for
does
me.
depend on the season.
I haven't been on in a while. That's why she
Yeah,
can't
that's why
watch.
she
No,
just
I know,
said.
and
That's
now
why
I
I haven't
said
watched.
now I'm
She's
watching.
being dead serious too.
I am, and now I will watch, and I know my family will too.
They better.
Oh, the Chiffos love
Oh,
Johnny
the
Bananas.
Chiffos
they're-
are better.
Chiffos
Big Bananas
love
fans.
Johnny Bananas.
Better be in front of their TV every week, drinking wine and eating salami.
Yeah.
But no,
Sounds
so
about right.
so on my podcast though, we just did the whole Challenge USA, the one that was on CBS, which, you know, some people liked it, some people didn't,
Yeah.
but there was no challenge people on there, and it kind of goes to
Yeah.
the point that you were making, where it's like it's so difficult. It's like there's a certain way to play the game and to move throughout the house and to carry yourself and to strategize and like whatever, that you need to have people there that know how to play the game in order for the game to be played right.
Yeah, yeah.
And the problem is when you put a bunch of people who, yeah, they've been on all these other shows, Survivor, Big Brother, Love Island, Amazing Race, you put them in the same environment, you have the same host, you have the same rules, you have the same format, but it's just you get a different result because you don't have the people there that are kind of like showing them the ropes and how the game's supposed to be played. So after watching obviously the Challenge USA, I went back and I started before I had guests on, because Big Brother people and Survivor people just play a completely different game. The way they move through the house, the way they strategize, the way they it's just completely different. So I just wanted to kind of get an idea of what makes them tick, and I feel like it's helped my game out a little bit because I
Yeah.
understand kind of now how those games go, which are completely different than the
Right.
challenge.
Now, in past seasons, it was like a lot of times the OGs versus the new people would come in, and it was very apparent that the OGs were always like, we're the OGs. You
Yeah.
guys are new. You need to respect us.
Yeah.
Do you think that has changed a little bit now?
Yeah.
Because kids are not really listening to authority.
Well-
like they're like, you know what I mean? Like they're
Yeah.
like, fuck you. I don't
Also,
really
the
care.
New kids have been
That's-
on multiple seasons now.
Yeah, and
And
also
there's
they're
very
on
few of
different
us.
shows,
Yeah.
and so they're like, I have followers from a different show. I
There's
don't
not
care.
as many OGs
That's part of
doing
it.
the show.
But that's the big issue is, dude, we used to be 75% of the cast, 80% of the cast were like people who have been there, done that, been around the block. But now, because we don't have, I mean, a lot of the older cast are moving on. We don't have the
Yeah.
real world, to pull from, or even really any MTV shows. At least before we had like Are You the One? Like
Right,
we got
right,
some really
right.
good cast members from Are You the
Yeah.
One. We don't even have that anymore. So
Great- oh,
we're
that's a good
forced
show.
now to
Those
pull.
early seasons of Ari the One were so good.
Amazing. And we
Those
got some
are-
great
yeah.
cast. Devin,
Yeah.
Tori,
Devin,
Nelson.
Yeah. Yep.
Like we got some solid cast members
Yeah.
from there. And now it's like now the bullpen is like Big Brother. So it's like, so when you go into a house now, and especially you'll see on this season, like, dude, the first few episodes, very, very, very light in the veteran department. So you have a bunch of these new kids that have never played the game before trying to like play. And like, I remember like after I showed up, not just the cast, but even like members of production were like, thank fucking God. you're here."
Yeah.
Because like this was literally watching like the blind leading the
Yeah.
blind.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just need that,
Some of
man.
them
It's
have
like
a big head. They probably don't even watch the show before they go on. They
Yeah.
like think that
Yeah,
they
that's what I'm
know,
saying. They just go
Yeah.
on. They're like, I have followers, so
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I should be on this show.
dude, and it's changed so much over the years in that regard. Because I remember, and I've said this before, like in interviews and stuff, where like we get 1 10-minute phone call home a week, right? If I take the call, which I usually don't, because I just like to stay in like the challenge space, and I almost don't want distractions from the outside world. But if I do take a call, it's like my family.
Yeah.
Like, is everyone okay?
Yeah.
Everyone alive? My bills getting that sort of thing. There's kids who will literally come on and they'll use their 10-minute phone call to like call whoever's
Running their
posting
Instagram.
for them and
Yeah.
be like, how are my followers doing? Have you been posting? I'm like, really? You get one call home, like
That's crazy.
not like are my animals still alive?
Yeah,
Is the
yeah.
family okay?
Yeah,
like
just make sure everyone's health is in check.
has my
Yeah.
car been repossessed? It's like, nah, is my Instagram okay? It's like,
Yeah.
fuck,
Oh
man.
my God, that
Yeah,
is nuts.
know.
I never even thought about
Landscape
that.
has changed.
Yeah, that
it
is
really
crazy.
Has. It really has.
So I feel like your name has always been thrown around as like if they were gonna bring back like a celebrity bachelor, like a crossover, like Johnny Bananas, The Bachelor, or something like that. And like I saw rumors online. Do you think there could ever be a crossover of you into the Bachelor universe?
If
But
there-
you also said you weren't ready for a relationship, so
If there ever was, well, listen, you know how relationships go. You're never ready for a relationship. I've
they
always
just
said
come and they just appear in your
exactly.
life.
I've always felt like the relationships that I've been in that have been the ones that are the ones that like I wasn't ready. I wasn't necessarily looking for, and it just happens. You're like, holy shit, where'd you come from? But I mean, listen, I wouldn't be the Bachelor. I'd be the Banatchler. First of all, get your vernacular correct.
That's a,
I'm really
that's a little
happy
bit of a,
that
that's a
you're-
little bit of a tongue twister.
I'm really happy you're still going with that. You know what I
Right?
mean? Like in any
Still.
way that you could throw bananas in, you're
Duh.
doing it.
No, so I mean, listen, I think if there was, because I mean, listen, like my parents too have given up at this point with me. They're like, "Are you ever gonna bring a nice girl home?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll bring a few nice girls home." Mom. Come on, but I think if there was any chance for me to finally settle down, it would have to be if I went on a show where I was kind of like forced into it. You know what I mean? And I think that would be probably the correct format
So do you think there's any chance of that?
of what.
Like that ever actually happening?
I don't know. I mean,
I feel like MTV could just make
never
that
say
show
never.
for you.
Nah, I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't. No, because they.
You'd
would-
want
You
the
don't
real
wanna do
deal.
it on
Yeah,
MTV.
if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it the right way.
You want it on network television.
Yes. yeah. But I mean, listen. There's a possibility. You know, there's something. There's a possibility out there. I
Oh
mean,
boy.
you know, there has been. You said that it is difficult for there to be like a crossover between, but
Yeah.
maybe on TV. But there has been potentially crossovers off television in my past.
Well,
no
that I mean,
secrets
that
here, but
definitely makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, if all the reality TV people
they
hang
mingle.
out,
Yeah.
you're at the same events, you're meeting the same people.
Yeah.
And now with like when the way they do your especially your show, it's just all people from all different
Yeah.
shows. So it's everybody hanging out together.
it
So are
is-
you implying that you were involved with a contestant on the
I'm
show?
not implying anything. What are you implying?
That he was implying.
Yeah, I felt
that.
like that's what-
he was implying.
I feel like
that.
I
that's what
was
you-
not. I just said that there's a better likelihood of things happening off the
Yeah,
screen than
so
on.
there could be a potential crossover in off-screen life
Yes.
between
Yes.
a challenge member and somebody who was a contestant on an ABC show.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
I saw a clip where you sued HBO
Yeah,
for
stealing my name.
yes. What can you explain that to me, because I'm a huge Entourage fan, so is Fran.
Well, yes, I will.
Explain, like, when was was there a real crossover? Like, I was trying to figure out the timeline in my head.
There wasn't a crossover. Here's listen.
Well, you did it years later, right?
No.
Oh no, it was.
No,
in
it was right
current
after.
time?
Here's the problem. I
Okay,
waited
okay.
a little bit too long to file my suit.
Okay.
But you
For
were Johnny
defamation.
Bananas.
Yes.
Like, yes, because that's what I'm thinking of. Like, you were established Johnny Bananas.
100%.
And
I was using the nickname Johnny Bananas way before Entourage even existed as a show. All right. So I don't know what it was. Season 5. It was actually the last season they did of Entourage.
Season 8.
Season 8.
She knows the
Johnny
exact
Drama
episode.
got a spin-off show or a character that they started calling Johnny Bananas,
Yes.
the cartoon monkey.
Yes. With Andrew Dice Clay.
Yes, exactly. And a friend of mine, Leonard, who at the time was in law school, listen. In interest
So
of
it's
full disclosure,
Leonard's fault.
in interest of full disclosure, I didn't watch Entourage back in the
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
I didn't. You know why? Because like I grew up in Southern California. I was in LA a lot, and like that group of guys reminded me of every like douchebag group of like Hollywood fucking assholes that were like in that scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And listen, I understand these guys are all like playing a role, and since then, like I've obviously, you know, met a lot of them, and like we're chill. I mean, I actually did a golf tournament with Johnny Drama, so you know we're cool. I think, but So my friend Leonard hits me up and goes, dude, they're using your name on Entourage. He goes, you could sue for defamation. And he's like, I'm learning about this in law school right now.
Oh my God.
He's like,
This was Leonard's big break.
Yeah, it was. Well, no.
Defamation, though.
He goes,
it
yeah.
wasn't like they were. Well, continue.
Yes.
So he goes, let me put you in touch with this attorney named Stephanie Ovadier, who actually represented Lindsay Lohan in an E-Trade suit.
Oh.
Do you remember years ago there was the E-Trade commercials with the babies?
Yeah.
And you remember there was a one where the baby like is like, oh, that's my Lindsay, the milkaholic, implying that Lindsay was the blonde baby. And she pops out and spills a bunch of milk. Lindsay Lohan actually sued E-Trade for defamation of character, saying that Lindsay is as synonymous with Lindsay Lohan as like Madonna is with Madonna.
Right.
She won like a shit ton of money. So he put me in touch with this.
That one.
Yeah, put me in touch with the same attorney. So she's like, you definitely have a case. We're going to file this, blah, blah, blah. So we filed the suit in New York, which was the big mistake. We should have filed it in LA. We filed it in New York. And basically citing defamation. So the reason it was defamation is because defamation doesn't necessarily mean that you're being like, your character's being insulted.
Yeah.
You could be defamed in other ways. So like this was it's like, say, because at the time I was doing a lot of like appearances, bars, clubs, like whatever. If they advertise Johnny Bananas is going to show up, you're confusing the public. So which Johnny Bananas is going to show up? If I show up, if people are expecting Kevin Dillon. If he shows up, they're expecting me.
Yeah.
So we're like, this has the potential to create confusion.
It has some legs.
Right. Is your name trademarked?
So here's the thing.
I took one entertainment law
So
class.
here's the thing: is in the public eye, and this is what we sued. It's called the right to publicity. So because I was and still am person most known for the name Johnny Bananas.
Correct. If I heard your real full name, like I would be like, I don't know who that is.
John Amadeus Divenanzio.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So in the realm of the entertainment industry and in the public, I basically own that name.
Yeah.
So HBO didn't argue that. They didn't argue any of the merits. They didn't argue defamation, nothing. All that they argued was that the statute of limitations for defamation was 12 months, which it was. And we filed our suit 13 months after. But here's where we got screwed was they argued that it should have been the first time they used that's when the clock starts, when they used it.
Yeah.
For the first time. We're arguing like, no, it should have reset every time they used it on the show. So it should have went all up to the other end of the season, but the judge ruled in their favor, so I got my case thrown out.
Damn. So did they basically admit that they took some...
They didn't have to. They didn't have to, but here's how I know. You want to know how I know? This is first. Here's a little tea for you. Mark Wahlberg, who's the executive producer, huge Challenge fan.
Yeah.
Here's how I know this. Diem, love you, D.
Yeah.
She interviewed Mark Wahlberg years ago. This is during she was hosting a show for a while. She interviewed Mark Wahlberg about the challenge. He admitted what a massive challenge fan he was. So you're telling me that in these meetings that they were having, these production meetings, that when the nickname Johnny Bananas was thrown around as Kevin Dillon's, not one person in the room knew that there was already somebody out there by the name Johnny Bananas, especially the executive producer who watches the challenge.
No, I
so.
could see that. I could definitely see. It's a recognizable name.
Yeah.
It is. Well,
Thank
those
you.
guys, they're
Like, I knew
HBO,
the
Mark
names-
Wahlberg, their heads are big enough where they're like, we can do whatever
they're
we
like,
want.
let's just use Johnny Bananas. Perfect nickname. He'll never know.
Yeah.
And also, I knew the name Johnny Bananas before I even watched the challenge because I just feel like your name is just, it's Johnny Bananas. That's not just like a normal
Well, there was
nickname.
there was actually a mobster back in the name named Johnny Bananas.
But you have now
Taking it from
surpassed him.
Yeah. I've probably killed more people than him too.
On the challenge. Respectably.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that was my story of the HBO lawsuit.
Yeah.
But had we filed this, so here's the problem is like New York's different. Like LA is much more sympathetic towards people in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Whereas New York, it's like, there's a judge that HBO's, based here. It was probably like, yeah, we're going to rule in your guys' favor. So, yeah.
Hey.
I actually was going to do, it's funny because then after TMZ did a story, like they caught me outside a restaurant after and they kind of did a story on it and kind of made fun of me for doing it. And then they interviewed Kevin Connolly on like a red carpet. He like went off. He's like, fuck this Bananas guy. Who the fuck do you think he is? All this shit. So then before I ended up doing my podcast on Spotify, I was actually going to do it on Kevin Connolly's
Yeah.
podcast
His
network.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is going to be a weird call because I don't know if this guy even knows. And I remember asking him about it. He goes, nah, man, it's all good. I'm over that. Like, I was just like, a moment that I had. You know what I actually wanted? To be honest, I wouldn't even sued. You know what would have been a better way to resolve this? Bring me on the fucking show.
Yeah, all
If they
you
were
wanted
still
was a
film-
part.
Yes. I was like, dude, if they're still filming Entourage, bring me on.
Yeah.
And
It
then
was
I
the
can
last
argue.
Season 8 was the last
It was the last
I know.
season. You
Well,
could have
we
been in the
could've-
movie.
the movie.
The
They
movie
did
Johnny
make- they did
Bananas
make a
was in the
movie.
movie.
No, it wasn't.
Was it? I'm pretty sure it was mentioned.
I don't
Johnny
know.
Bananas?
I'm pretty
I don't-
sure.
Call my lawyer. right
Yeah.
now.
I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty
How
sure.
long ago was it? Was this movie out more than 12 months ago?
Years ago.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was mentioned in the.
I
beginning of
don't.
the
I
movie.
have not watched the
damn,
I
Entourage.
don't know for sure, but
Could have sued them again.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I don't know enough about the Entourage
Why
movie.
didn't you guys call me?
I don't.
This
This was
movie
years
came out-
ago.
We've known each other for
no,
years.
no, way,
This movie came
way
out
before
in what year?
2015.
Okay, yeah, that's a
I'll
long
tell you
time
what,
ago.
I hope somebody uses Chicks in the Office in the movie, and I'm not going to tell you guys.
Well, listen, Boss
I won't
will
say a
take
word.
that up with them, and
Yeah,
they'll get
we
sued.
not gonna
we
say a
got
word.
Big
Chicks in the
company,
Office is trademarked.
we got big company,
sure.
big company lawyers
Yeah,
that,
yeah, we
that
got-
handle that for
Exactly.
us.
But that would have been a cool way to resolve it. I could have went on. I could have
No, that
argued
would
with
have
them
been.
over my
yeah.
name.
That would have been funny. That would have been fun.
But it's
It
actually
would have been a funny episode.
Yeah, it would
'cause
have been a
would've
very funny episode.
Like, oh, this guy from the challenge is mad we're using his name.
Yeah.
Would have been a good
Yeah.
episode.
So I actually, and like I said, I actually ran into Kevin Dillon at a cheesy Christmas sweatshirt. Andre Reed, the Hall of Famer from the Bills, puts on a cheesy Christmas sweatshirt golf tournament every year in San Diego. So I went, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, and Kevin Dillon was there. And we didn't really cross paths during the tournament. We were at the same hotel. So we all went to, have cigars and fucking whiskey or whatever at the end of the night. I walked up to him. I was like, yo, man, it's the real Johnny Bananas. And he rolled his, he didn't really acknowledge me, but I couldn't tell if it's because he didn't get, that it was me that was saying it.
No, they're like, this
Yeah.
man, he just won't let it fucking go. We don't care that you were Johnny Bananas.
Well, it actually, and not to beat a dead horse, but there was supposed to be a spin-off cartoon on Entourage. Or no, after Entourage called Johnny's
Yes.
Bananas. And they didn't move forward with that because of the lawsuit that I did. So,
Okay, so you had a little win there.
a little win.
All right, I'm glad.
Sorry, Kev.
I'm glad
so
you.
he probably killed his spinoff.
Yeah, you killed his career.
I'm sorry, Kev.
You killed his. You killed his
He's doing all
spinoff.
right. He's doing all right.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be all
doing
right.
He's doing all right.
Oh,
Johnny,
man.
thank you so
That's
much for
funny.
coming in.
Dude.
We're so happy to have you anytime.
It's been real.
We're very excited for this season of the challenge. Comes back Wednesday, October 12th. I will be watching. I promise. I will be watching
Yeah.
on Wednesday nights. I'm free on Wednesday nights.
Who are I want to hear just because we know who the cast is. Who are the pairings that you're worried about, and who are you're like they don't stand a chance?
Okay, pairings that I'm worried about.
Yeah.
Let's see. Devin and Tori, because me and Devin have obviously never gotten along.
Yeah.
And
Can I
me and
admit
Tori.
something? I really like.
I'm a
Devin.
Devin fan.
Okay.
I really like
Yeah.
Devin. I
Well,
really
guys are
like
gonna
you.
be-
I really like both.
Well, you guys
guys
are going to be shocked by what transpires this season
Oh
between
no!
him and I. Let's see. There's some really good rookie teams that. Okay, Turbo's back.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, Turbo's
and
scary. Yeah.
we all know that guy's an absolute maniac. Can't
Yeah.
wait to see who he brings along with him. Let's see. Again, there's some new teams. Johnny and Raven. There's a guy named Johnny who comes in. The guy's like an Olympic.
You gonna sue him
track
too?
sprinter, probably. Well, that's why I'm Bananas now. There's this dude named Horacio.
Oh.
All right, kid, you guys are gonna fall in love with this guy. I actually fell in
He
love with him.
sounds
23
interesting.
years old, professional soccer player. Kid is a fuck. I was actually hoping for the season because they showed who might be on.
Yeah.
I see a video of this guy doing that, I don't know, parkour ninja warrior shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're going to have to kill this guy. We're going to have to Tanya Harding this guy night one because this is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Fessie's coming back. He's bringing a partner named Mariah, who I may or may not
Oh boy.
partner up with at some point during the season too. So I mean, listen, a lot of partnerships going on here. So
It'll be
There's
very
always
interesting. I'm excited.
something.
there's always something going on in the challenge house.
Can't wait.
I'm very
So
excited.
yeah, it's gonna be good.
Great.
You guys, are gonna love
Everyone,
it.
tune in.
Yep.
We will be watching.
You better be from your sleep number bed.
Mattress Firm.
I'm sorry. Fuck.